Could the Chicago Bears be making a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers, not for a player, but for head coach Mike Tomlin? And the Chicago Bulls have to win three in a row or to get to 500. And listen, man, we can't really expect that. The Bulls are allergic to 500. Plus, we're going to touch base on every other Chicago sports team right after the intro. Good morning, Chicago sports fans. Welcome to another episode of Chi-Town Sports Central. It's your boy, Big Kev, holding it down for the gang on this snowy Chicago morning in the Chicago area. If you are out on the road, to make sure you're being safe, driving slower than usual, and not getting upset with people that ain't driving the way you want them to, man. Just be careful out there. It's slippery pretty much all over the country right now. You got issues. LA on fire, praying for the family out there. And it's snowing in the South, Dallas, Atlanta, all those places that don't normally get snow. Y'all be careful down there, man. And you Chicagoans in those different places, let those fools know how to drive. Y'all can still go on about your daily business while everybody else is in the house for the snow day. So don't forget to hit us up at Chi-Town Sports Central, wherever you like to receive your social media. And of course, type in your favorite Chicago sports team. And then put Central right behind it, and you'll find all of our channels. It's your boy Big Kev in the building to discuss some Chicago sports. And we're going to start with the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears have been in conversation, at least, about possibly trading for Mike Tomlin, considering the fact that they've lost 7 straight playoff games, even though he's yet to finish below 500. I believe he's never coached a team in Pittsburgh to finish below 500. We know they got a Super Bowl back in the day, but this is a different type of mediocrity. Chicago Bears fans would love to have the mediocrity of making the playoffs every season and then losing in the first round at the very least for the next couple of years, as opposed to what we've experienced in our lives in which the Bears make the playoffs every once in a while and then, they don't even make it for the most part. So it is what it is. Mike Tomlin would be a massive upgrade at the coaching position. We know that he's a leader of men. We know that he can get the best out of his players. We know that he's a winning coach, but can he get the Bears to the mountaintop is the real question. And for me, my take is this. I mean, if you got an opportunity to get Mike Tomlin, you at least kick the can, but is he the coach to take you to the next level? That remains to be seen. We see what's been happening in Pittsburgh, and they have their hands full this weekend with the Baltimore Ravens. If they can go ahead and beat them and exercise that demon of losing in the first round each of the last 7 times that they've been to the playoffs, then we'll see whether or not they can build on that and go further. But at the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been just good enough to not be good enough, if that makes sense. The AFC has been dominated by the Kansas City Chiefs over the last few seasons, and then of course Baltimore and Buffalo are really really good, and then you still have like the Cincinnati Bengals and teams like that. So can we really sit back and look at Pittsburgh and say, man, they've lost the last 7 playoff appearances and they probably headed to their eighth, and not look at the extenuating circumstances, the bigger picture, and versus the teams that they've played against. Now a couple of those times they lost, they should have won. I'm pretty sure they lost to Jacksonville one time, if I'm not mistaken. But at the end of the day, when you look at the AFC, it's really the Kansas City Chiefs and then everybody else. And you cannot overlook how good the Baltimore Ravens are and the Buffalo Bills are. Pittsburgh is just not as good as either one of those teams. Now, I know it's any given Sunday when it comes to playoffs, any given Saturday and or Sunday. But at the end of the day, man, Mike Tomlin is still a really damn good coach. And if the Bears have an opportunity to trade for him, you trade for him. You trade for him and you allow him to build this organization to become a winning organization, an organization that at least has a chance to play for the Super Bowl. And the only way you can have a chance to play for the Super Bowl is by making the playoffs. And that's something that the Bears don't do consistently enough, because at the end of the day, when Matt Nagy was here, he did go to the playoffs, I think 2 out of 4 seasons. But you want to start seeing consecutive playoff berths. And I can't think of the last time that the Chicago Bears went to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. Fairly certain it was when Lovie Smith was the coach, and that's it. It's the last time, and that's many, 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 many years ago. So y'all already know what it is, man. Head over to Chicago Bears Central if you guys want to, if you want to hear any more updates, news, and analysis from Hayes and C Dub and Bobby, and then of course Steve O and myself pop in and out of the Chicago Bears Central. So moving right along to the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls, man, this team. Just when it looked like they were turning the corner, getting some strong wins, strong comeback wins versus the San Antonio Spurs, versus the New York Knicks. Um, they completely laid an egg against the Indiana Pacers the other night, in which they just came out flat again, ended up being down by 19, 18 points early, and this time they couldn't come back. And when you're a team like the Chicago Bulls and you're relying on the 3-point shot to really carry you, when it's not, the three is not falling, they don't really have anything else to lean on. Now Zach and Kobe have been playing a lot more aggressively. They've been going to the basket more, but they don't. And Vooch has been playing really well as well, but they don't have what they're not getting what they expected from the Patrick Williams of this world. And that hurts. That hurts the team. Patrick Williams should be officially labeled a bust at this point. There's no reason for Bulls fans to be still holding on to hope that this guy's going to somehow figure it out. Just going to wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm going to be a 15 and 15, 8 and 5 type of guy. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. That's just not him. And I still can't understand why the Chicago Bulls gave him $90 million. It's unacceptable. And I was a big Patrick Williams fans when they drafted him. I expected him to properly develop. He has all the intangibles: big hands, long arms, the ability to shoot the three, and he did shoot the three really well 2 seasons ago. But at the end of the day, he's just not mentally there. And we've talked about it. I just don't feel like basketball is the love of his life. I feel like it's a means to an end. He is something that he can do. He's something that he's built to do, but not necessarily something that he's built to do at a high level. He got what he wanted. He got generational wealth out of it, and I doubt that he'll ever see another contract like this one again. And I'm pretty sure he won't be with the Chicago Bulls for the duration of that contract. Patrick Williams will be traded at some point over the next year or two. The Bulls themselves have even said it coming into this season that, hey, he's on the board, he's on the trade block for the first time. Teams have wanted him. I think back to when Domantas Sabonis was on the block from Indiana, and the Bulls refused to trade Patrick Williams, and look how that's turned out. Domantas Sabonis is over in Sacramento taking care of business, getting double doubles galore, triple doubles even, while Patrick Williams is in and out of the lineup, whether he's injured or just not mentally prepared to play, and he's just it's sad to see. It's sad to see. And now the Bulls find themselves at 17 and 20, better than what the pundits had them to be. 3 more games to about halfway. Well, 4 more games to about halfway to through the season, and they do have a shot. They got a shot to get to 500 these next 3 games if they can go on another 3-game winning streak. Because they have a couple of those this season. The Chicago Bulls can find themselves at 500. It's going to be tough though. The Wizards, albeit they're a terrible team, but Jordan Poole and company killed the Bulls. They blew them out in DC a couple of weeks back, so that's not a given. But they should win tonight's game. The Kings is going to be a tough one. They've been playing inspired basketball. Now this is a homestand for the Chicago Bulls. These next few games, they're playing inspired basketball since their coach was fired. I don't think they've lost. The Pelicans, they got Zion Williamson back, so we know that that's going to be a tough matchup. He's going to be, playing his second or third game back from injury, and he would love to get a win versus the Bulls in Chicago. So that's going to be tough. The Hawks are always a tough matchup, considering that they laid a 50 burger on the Bulls in the fourth quarter. The last time that they played the Bulls were looking good through 3 quarters and ended up losing to the Atlanta Hawks by giving up 50 points in Atlanta in the fourth quarter. So that one's going to be tough. Then the Charlotte Hornets is always a tough game, regardless of who's out there. But LaMelo's back. So we're going to see how that goes. So these next few games, and then even the Portland Trailblazers, it's not going to be an easy one. That's going to be a road game after playing 4 straight home games for the Chicago Bulls. So they have an opportunity over the next 5 games to either get to or surpass 500, but it's probably not going to happen. Chicago Bulls have been allergic to 500 since Lonzo Ball got hurt. That was the last time that the Chicago Bulls were really consistently above 500 team. And now that he's back, they're playing good basketball, but not great basketball. They're just the same mediocre team that they've been over the last 3 seasons. And frankly, I think it's time for Billy Donovan to go. I know the Chicago Bulls are for some reason enamored with this guy. They want to keep him here. They've given him a secret contract. I think he's here for the next 2 seasons. But there's nothing wrong with firing the last coach in the Chicago sports who hasn't been fired. Everybody's been fired except for the Bulls coach. He's the longest tenured coach in Chicago. So it's time. It's time to move on, get a new voice, get a new direction, man. Maybe trade Zach if they can get anybody interested. Maybe trade Vooch if they can get anybody interested. And there are people interested in Vooch, but Zach's trade value has plummeted over the last couple of seasons is because of his contract. He's making a lot of money with that opt-in clause at about $50 million toward the end of his deal. So it's rough. The Chicago Bulls fans have to watch a team that is what I've been saying since the preseason: fun, bad. Some nights they're fun to watch. Most nights they're bad. Some nights they're fun and bad simultaneously. It is what it is. So the Bulls got some work to do though. Take care of business tonight versus the Wizards, and then you got 3 tough games versus the Kings. Pelicans record doesn't really reflect how good of a team they are. And then the Hawks, of course, you know what the Bulls with the Hawks. Hopefully, Io comes back soon. By the way, we'll see, but we need him back out there because that they probably would already be at 500 if they had Io's defensive presence and his 3-point shooting, his ability to take it to the basket. Then the Hornets. So maybe we'll finally see LaMelo and Lonzo play against each other. It's been a while. All right, so moving right along, y'all already know what to do. Hit up Chicago Bulls Central, see what Hayes is up to over there in the Shot Bulls podcast with C-Dub and Bobby. You'll see them live tonight over on the Shot Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys as the Bulls take on the Washington Wizards. All right, moving right along, y'all already know how we do. We'll just breeze through the rest of these guys. The Chicago Blackhawks have a game tonight. They did win surprisingly the other day against the Colorado Avalanche. I believe that's who they played. They do play the hated Detroit Red Wings, our arch rivals, arch nemesis, tonight in Detroit. It's going to be at 6 p.m. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out the Chicago Blackhawks, any news and analysis and updates, head up to Chicago Blackhawks Central. And then, of course, we got the Chicago Cubs. Now, this is crazy. This is a crazy story coming out of the Chicago Cubs. They just traded for Kyle Tucker. And it's crazy because the Chicago Cubs, they can't figure out how to pay the guy. And they can't figure out, now they're headed to arbitration. It's like, what is really, really going on here? Jed Hoyer, bro, you need to get you need to get it together, bro. Like, you need to get it together because Chicago Cubs fans are ecstatic about having this guy on the roster. We know what he's capable of. He has power. He plays great defense, and he wants to sign a long-term contract with a team. And you guys are already messing it up. Haven't even played a game yet. Already messing up an opportunity. I mean, if you don't get this guy signed long-term, it's a waste of a trade. It's a waste of a trade. I mean, you got Kyle Tucker, and Jed Hoyer is refusing to pay the guy. Like, he wants to be paid $17.5 million, and the Chicago Bulls want to pay. I mean, the Chicago Cubs want to pay 15. So you're literally going to arbitration over $2.5 million, which is pennies, pennies. Like, what are we going? What are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, come on. We're looking like we're trying to put a team on the field for now and the future. And Jed Hoyer, your job is definitely on the line. You're going into the last year of your contract, and here you are attempting to like you're already acting in bad faith with a star player, a potential all-star for this team for years to come, and y'all don't want to give him $2.5 million. And you're gonna have to break the bank for him next season. Like, y'all gave Cody Bellinger all this money, and he's been inconsistent. At least with Tucker, we know he's been consistent. At least with the Houston Astros, what are we doing? Like, give the man the money. Give him an extra 500,000 while you're at it. Give him 18 million. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, stop it, bro. Like, we already know that once Tucker is a fit free agent, this man is going to be getting a contract of about 500 million, between 450 and 500 million. And you guys are arguing with this man over $2.5 million. Like, seriously, you gotta be like, stop it, bro. Stop it. Tom Ricketts, Jed Hoyer, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. And you're about to mess up one of the only good things that you guys got going right now. This could completely, like, imagine the type of mental toll this could take on him when he comes into the season. He just decides to just take it easy. Since y'all don't want to give him $2.5 million. Stop playing games. And I'm pretty sure my boy Mike is covering this over on Chicago Cubs Central. So listen, don't do this, Jay Hoyer and Tom Ricketts. Get this man his money so y'all can negotiate a real contract with him in the offseason, because it's looking like y'all done traded away assets for no reason now. Head on over to Chicago Cubs Central for any news, updates, and analysis. Now, we got Chicago White Sox. The Chicago White Sox made a trade, signed someone else. They've been just signing a bunch of people. They just signed Rojas. They signed not just Rojas. Who else did they sign? There you go, Martin Perez, from out of San Diego. And Martin Perez, he's solid, man. He's a left-hander. Um, it's just something, listen, what the White Sox are doing right now is what they should be doing. They're filling the roster with a bunch of veterans who have things to prove, something to prove. They want to go out there and prove that they can still play, they still belong in this league. And the White Sox have such a terrible aura around them that anybody can come in and make them better. So we got the new manager, we got a bunch of young prospects, and we got a bunch of players that have been in the league for a minute to teach them how to be a bunch of veterans to teach them how to play, teach them how to be professionals. So it's not much news coming out of the White Sox camp between, as far as like, oh my God, we got to talk about them and express how we feel. Like, nah, we can't talk about the White Sox really until we see them play, because we don't even know what they're going to look like. But again, head on over to Chicago White Sox Central for updates, news, and analysis. And then finally, Chicago Sky. There's just a little bit of news about Angel Reese uh, meeting up with Teresa Witherspoon. And I don't know, man. This girl is, whatever she does is going to be put under a microscope. So that's just the reality of it. Her meeting up with her former coach, a coach that she holds near and dear to her heart, it's silly to be expecting her not to have a relationship with her former coach. It's just silly. Let's just look at it for what it is. This is somebody that she cares about. They obviously care about each other. Teresa Witherspoon was unceremoniously fired after one season. And for us over here on the Chicago Chi-Town Sports Network and over on Chicago Sky Central, we saw the shortcomings of Teresa Witherspoon after watching all the games last season. There's a reason why they missed the playoffs, and a lot of it had to do with coaching. The players too, obviously, missing layups played a major role in it, but let's not act like Teresa Witherspoon did not have her mishaps as well. So Angel Reese meeting up with her though to talk to her to talk shop is not a big deal. It is not a big deal. But everything that she does is put under a microscope, and everybody's going to be paying attention to her every move, especially because of how well certain players, certain rookies played last year. But year two should be leaps and bounds better than it was for Angel and Camilla. Hopefully Kennedy Carter comes back, but they're going to get a top college player to come in and help uh, provide wins from the very beginning of the season. They got new coaches. They're going to have new players. Hopefully they address their three-point shooting, and then we'll see how it goes. But y'all already know what it is, man. Type in your favorite Chicago sports team and put the word Central behind it, and you'll find me, C-Dub, Bobby, Hayes, and Steve-O, wherever you guys are looking to head over to NBA Central for national basketball news as well. It's your boy Big Kev. We're going to holler at you guys next time. Peace.